Yo, yo, yo. This is Candy Bee Knittin. I'm Candy Bee. I be knitting, and today I just be showing you a few things. I am wearing, I noticed that I don't usually wear a lot of my hand knits because I actually get quite warm, but this is not too bad. This is my Kagan's quilt that I won't say I finished, but I bound it off, and I will do a whole deep dive into the pattern, the yarn, all that kind of stuff. Once I weave in on all the ends, I did block all the blocks individually before I sewed it together, and the only thing that was left after that was adding on a garter stitch kind of log cabin style border, and I've done that, but I'm not going to reblock it because I just don't see the purpose of reblocking it just for the edging. But next time y'all see me, hopefully this will be done. The Mister and I have been watching The Wire on HBO, the show from like the early 2000s, and it's been like the perfect thing to just get some knitting banged out. And so I seamed this over Christmas break, and now we are in mid to late February, and a lot of stitches to pick up and knit, but I did it. And this is Hobie's Happy Place yarn, the Tony Lipsy yarn. And so, yeah, hopefully next time, we get in a few more episodes we're on season 3, so we have plenty to go. And I weave in all those ends. There's not too many ends left, and I've been working on this since October 2023, and so it's definitely, we are in the, what do you call it, I want to say the home run, but that's not it. It's all downhill from here. Whatever people say to say that it's almost done. And so hopefully it's no more than an hour, maybe an episode worth of work. So what I did with this yarn is I had there's 11, 12 if you count the border color, different types of colors in here. And I had partial balls left over of quite a few of the colors. This is what I have left of I ordered maybe 3 or 4 balls of this cream color so I could have the border color, and I needed that 4th ball. Got some of the green left. Some of the turquoise left. Little red, little blue. This is all I have with the blue. You'll see what I did with the blue in a second. And then I got my swatch left, which I'm thinking I might just weave in the ends on my swatch and like give it to my kids as like a Barbie blanket or something. Because if I had waited till I was done with the blanket, I might have had enough to make a whole nother sweater. But I've shown y'all before, the thing I'm working on with the leftover yarn from this project has been a simple sweater for my 8-year-old daughter. And I'm literally almost done with this as well. So it's like, I don't know who coined the phrase finish it February, but these have been my 2 big focus projects for this month. I haven't cast on anything new this month, and I've been just concentrating on getting these done. So this is the simple sweater by TinCanKnits. And there is a variegated yarn in here. This is the We Are Knitters, the cotton is what it's called. But anywhere you see color striped in like this, there's like a melange blue, which is a melange blue from the Happy Place yarn that was left over from the blanket. This bright yellow here is left over from the blanket. Then there's melange turquoise and solid turquoise or not turquoise, I keep saying turquoise, it's teal. The sleeves have the solid teal. The body has some melange teal, and that's that. And then the bottom is this dark blue. And this is all I had left because then I got to the bottom, and I'm just going to do the ribbing all in the cotton yarn. So the Happy Place yarn is 50% cotton, 50% wool. And then the We Are Knitters, the cotton is 100% Pima cotton. And I just thought it would be interesting to stripe in to give it some softness and some different texture. And I think the colors go together nicely. It's very considering this is for an 8-year-old child, it is very much like, puts me in the mind of like a coloring book because of like the speckled of the cotton yarn and then a lot of the melanging of the Happy Place yarn. And this is a size 8-10 DK weight. Both of them are DK weights. That's also why I put them together. And it's going to be quite roomy on her. She requested that her sleeves be super long. And then I just made the body to pattern because the body is kind of long for her, and she didn't necessarily want a long body, but she is quite tall and she tends to grow more lengthwise. The issue I was having with this sweater, so once I have 2 inches of ribbing down at the bottom to do, and right now I have maybe a 1/2 inch right now, so I'll probably be finishing that in a couple of days, and I'm gonna rip out my cast on edge because I started with the simple sweater has an option to cast on the ribbing or wait till the end to do the ribbing, and I cast on the ribbing, and I'm usually very concerned about my ribbing being too tight, but with the cotton you can see how loose this is, and cotton just tends to grow and is very heavy and dense, and so there's a lot of weight kind of sagging on these stitches up here. And so I'm going to rip it out and just neaten it up a little bit, bind it off a little bit tighter. And then I also have the option to go back, and I know some people do like a crochet chain on the inside of their collars, just so like I want it to be slouchy, but I don't want it to like look sloppy. You know, there's a thin line to walk there. And also considering that the body is a bit long on her, I think the body's a bit long because when she puts this on, it's almost like off the shoulder for her. And so if I bring this in, it's going to bring the whole body of the sweater up. And yeah, I really, really like this. It's going to be kind of like almost like a sweatshirt for her. And I love the idea of, I wouldn't necessarily put cotton yarn in a circular yoke sweater. I tend to think of that as kind of like a 100% worsted wool kind of thing. But I do see the value in having something like this that has that cotton in there. So it's almost like, you know, it's like a sweatshirt basically. And so that's been a lot of fun. The only thing about working with not only the Happy Place luckily is 50% wool, so it has a little bit of give to it, but the We Are Knitters cotton is 100% cotton. And so I've been going between knitting with a cotton blend and knitting with 100% cotton. And I like working with cotton. I like the fabric I get with cotton. I like the textural experience of working with cotton, but I cannot deny that it is rough on the hands. It dries out the hands, or dries out my hands, and does not have as much give as some other fabrics. And so, a little bit of hand cramping, a little bit of dry skin, especially in the winter time. It's not the most pleasant thing in the world. So I've definitely been thirsting for something a little bit more woolly, a little bit softer to work with. I do applaud myself because I feel like I've been working very efficiently, immediately taking material from here that was going to be left over and putting it into a new project. But then I was like, wow, I'm working on 2 cottony projects at the same time and the same yarn, and that can get kind of boring. So I've been balancing that out with actually doing quite a bit of spinning. And I actually checked in, I've been trying to spin some sweater quantities, and I made I wouldn't call it a mistake, but I was trying to wait as long as I could to start weighing my yarn to see how much I might have, start looking at some of the yardage and seeing how far I have to go. And I still have quite a ways to go. But I compared what I've been spinning on my drop spindle to what I've been spinning on my wheel. And I think because I can just kind of pick up my drop spindle 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, and I can do it anywhere in the house, I actually am further along in spinning a sweater quantity on drop spindles than I am on my actual wheel. And so I've shown y'all this yarn before. I create little center pull balls off the drop spindle, and that's how I ply. And I've got a little baggie of these. I need to probably make 3 baggies like this. And this is some fiber I got from RH Lindsay. They're located in the New England area of the United States, And this is something they on their website, they just call it taupe, where they take a bunch of fiber from all over the northeastern region of the United States, and they bring it together and sort it by color. And so this is just a mix of whatever they got from the farmers that were in this color family. And yeah, it's a taupe yarn, and I've just been spinning it and spinning it and spinning it, and not really it's, you know, I get kind of bored on my wheel spinning the same color, but it's a different experience on the drop spindle, and so it really hasn't been that bad. It's got a little bit of veg matter. It's nice and fluffy. It's got a few little nips and neps there just because it is like, just, you know, looks like they just took it all and just ran it all through the carder. But then I was at a yarn swap, and if y'all don't follow Misti of Recycled Yarn, I'm going to put her information in the description box. She is local to me, but her name's Misti. She runs Recycled Yarn, and basically her whole business is that she takes apart sweaters and she sells the yarn. So, you know, LL Bean, Lands End, Ann Taylor, whatever sweaters that she gets her hands on, usually either donated or from thrift shops, she goes through and puts in the work to unravel them so that the yarn can become something else. And she's been hosting these quarterly yarn swaps in Richmond, Virginia, and she's already got the whole year planned out. And so if you're local, I would definitely stop by. If you're not local, it looks like she travels to different yarn festivals, and she also has an Etsy shop where she sells her yarn, so definitely check her out. But I'm at the yarn swap, and it's, I bring, my Lion brand, pick up a couple of skeins of Karen, and I look at the table, and it's full of people giving and taking. Take whatever you want, you don't have to necessarily bring anything. And I just see this guy in the middle of the table, and I'm like, is that fiber? Someone brought fiber? And it's just sitting there? Oh my God. And let me pull this out since there's a glare. This baby is massive. And it just had a handwritten card in the bag. And the handwritten card says, Ashford Melange Roving, blend of merino, Corriedale, alpaca, silk, and other sheep's wool, approximately 1.6 pounds. And I'm looking at this, and I don't know if Ashford, I know Ashford sells fiber, and I've gotten a little bit, I got a little bit of fiber when I got my spinning wheel, but I looked at their website and I really couldn't find anything like this. And so I don't know if someone like Ashford was a nickname because they had an Ashford wheel, or what. It's a handwritten card. And so I have no idea what the timeline is behind this, where it came from. I guess I could have asked around, who brought this, tell me. But it's just got this mix of all these different fibers. It puts me in the mind of when you take a newspaper, like the funny pages, and get it wet, because it's got this gray undertone, and then all the colors are just running together. Super duper soft. And the first thing I did, I spun up a little bit just by itself on the drop spindle. And just a little nugget. This is probably 15 to 20 grams. And I'll probably just ply it back on itself and have just a little mini skein. And then my next thought was, didn't even run it through the drum carder, or I have hand carders. I just drafted them together. Laid the fiber from R.H. Lindsay, some of this on top of this. And there is a beginning and end to this. And so I just got these nice long strips of roving. And I just make a little nest like this and spin off of these. And I'm really liking the results, and it's been fun to kind of counteract the amount of cotton I've been working with some silky, woolly, alpaca-y good times. And so I got this drop spindles full of stuff here, and just been having fun with it. I got a pound from RH Lindsay. This is allegedly 1.6 pounds of whatever this is. And I was thinking of just, I just was going to keep spinning because I was just enjoying it so much. I didn't really have a plan in mind. But then I saw that Hey Brownberry posted this sweater she just made for her husband. And darned if it isn't super duper close to this color. And I've been like searching for the perfect pattern for Mr. Rulu, my husband, because I want it to be, I just have this certain very specific vision of the perfect sweater for him. And he's quite, I wouldn't say he's picky, but he's picky. He's picky. He knows what he likes when it comes to his clothes. And he's got several sweaters that are in the same family. He's very picky about what colors he wears and everything. I'll put a link to the Ravelry. It starts with an S. I can't remember the name of the sweater, but it's just like set-in sleeves, which that's what I've been looking for. Set-in sleeves. I want it to be seamed. I want it to have a certain amount of structure to it, but I also want it to be lightweight. And for some reason, when I'm looking on Ravelry for sweaters that are going to fit a body that has, wider shoulders, taller, it seems like, oh, you're knitting for a man, you need thick cables, you need a bulky sweater, it should, have a fish on it. And I'm just like, I just want something real basic but well made. And I know, a lot of people swear by like petite knit and stuff like that, but I'm like, also, I don't want to hold mohair double. And once again, I need something that is accommodating to his body type. And I don't always see those sweaters modeled on a lot of different body types. We both, I've measured him before, and we both have 40-inch chests, but I have, obviously my chest is bigger than my midsection. He's 5'11", about 180 pounds. I'm 5'6", about 160 pounds. And so like these 40-inch bust sweaters that are going to fit me are going to look very different on him. And so I'm finding something that fits his body type, fits his comfort level, his style, everything like that. And he's actually held off for a very long time because his weight's fluctuated a little bit. And so he came to me, he was like, I think I'm ready. And like literally when he said that, I saw that on Instagram, and I saw this sweater, and her husband, if you know Mr. Rulu and you've seen Mr. Brownberry, very similar body types, very similar style. And so I'm like, oh, this is going to be perfect. And so I'm actually thinking that this might become that sweater. And yeah, it's a sport weight sweater, and I think it's going to be the ticket. So that's what I'm working towards. And it's actually not been so bad. A lot of people, I did it, I had a drop spindle, and I was like, I need a wheel, I need to spin more. And I mean, yeah, you can spin faster on a wheel. You can spin more on a wheel. But it really has been an experience, and I'm not like in too much of a rush. There's no like time limit on this, and I'm having fun. So that's all that really matters, right? I've done a little bit of math. I've looked at some yardage. I've looked at some weight. I should have more than enough. This was a pound. I've since like broken it up and done some other things with it. I'm thinking maybe I can incorporate this color somehow, but he is very much, let's keep it gray or brown or something like that. And so we'll see how much color he likes to incorporate into that. He loves colorful socks. Colorful sweaters, not so much. He certainly is not into my, let's stripe it and put some scraps together. This is not him at all. And so I have to definitely make sure I have enough. But also, I've been looking around for if I do need to supplement this with something, and there's definitely companies that carry 100% non-superwash taupe wool. I'll be able to match this with something. because this is the color of a sheep. Much like when I did my sweater that was all I don't know why I said fingering weight, all hand spun. I did bring in some commercial yarn for certain things, and I do have a little bit more commercial yarn. I think that was the ticket to do the seaming with the commercial yarn and do some of the bind offs with commercial yarn. So that's always an option to supplement this. The last thing I want to show y'all is not a knitted finish. Well, it is literally a knitted piece of fabric, but it is a dyeing project that is a finished object today. I feel like I have cursed the state of Virginia by getting on camera and saying, our winters are pretty mild. I don't really have a need for a bunch of thick sweaters. It doesn't get that cold here, and it doesn't get that cold here very often. This winter, we definitely had some brutal cold, but this winter, the snow, I feel like I've gotten more snow this year than I've gotten the past 3 to 4 years. It's been legit. The kids have not gone to school, which is not saying much in Virginia for snow to close stuff, but we literally, usually we have one kind of big snow day, it snows a couple of inches, it's melted by lunchtime, but the kids still get off school and it's fun and we have cocoa. This year it was snowstorm, ice storm, more snowstorm. And so the last 2 days we got 4 or 5 inches, which is a lot for us. And the kids did not have school. And so I was like, let's do a little activity. Let's do some snow dyeing. And if you're familiar with the concept of ice dyeing, same principle here. You take a piece of whatever you're trying to dye, you kind of crumple it up. You can do some kind of reduction techniques. You can do, oh goodness, what do they call it? Wax or tape or something like that. Or if you're doing tie-dye, you can tie things around it and make different colors. For this, I took a sock blank and just kind of scrunched it up in the bottom of a crock pot. I have a crock pot that's just for yarn things. That's my favorite thing to do at the thrift store, is look at the kitchen stuff and figure out what I can do for yarn. And we put some Kool-Aid and some snow on top, and this is the result. This is a sock blank, which is basically fingering weight yarn held double, ran through a knitting machine, and made into a piece of cloth. And this I got from Knit Picks. This is their Hawthorne fingering weight yarn. It's a wool nylon blend, usually sold in sock form, just skeins to make socks. And I got a couple of sock blanks with the intention of dyeing them. And I got them maybe a couple of years ago, and I never got around to it. And like I said, I just took it, scrunched it up in the bottom of a crock pot, put it outside in the snow. We had 3-4 inches accumulated snow on top. And then I took it in the kitchen, and the kids picked a color and sprinkled the color on top. And then the snow melts unevenly and slowly. And so you end up with splotches of color, and the color bleeds in a way that is very reminiscent of tie-dye. And you could do this with tie-dye materials as well. You do need soda ash and all that stuff. This is Kool-Aid, which means you don't need, well, I won't say you don't need, your mordant is the thing that makes the dye stick to the yarn, and all Kool-Aid has citric acid in it, and so the citric acid is what makes the dye set into whatever fabric you're using. And so that's that. And then, of course, the kids didn't know what was at the bottom, and they just saw the powder on top. And then the next day, I set it aside for 24 hours, came back, rinsed it off, and then they got to see this little guy at the bottom. And so this will either become a pair of socks, and you just unravel it from one end and you can knit from it. It is actually a raw edge. There's no bind off or cast on with this. It's literally just loose yarn at the end. So if I were to pull on this or manipulate it too much, it would just start to come apart. And so I'm actually going to fold it up and put it away and put it back in the bag it came in. But also you shouldn't handle it too much if you've got wet wool and you're dyeing it and stuff. And another tip I have for you for that is I have a salad spinner also a thrift store. I get it for like $3 at the thrift store, and that's how I wring out my knits when I've washed them or rinsed them, and it gets all the water out without me having to squeeze the water or manipulate it or felt it accidentally, which this shouldn't felt because it's sock yarn. But yeah, we had a good old time with that, embracing some unpleasant weather. The kids love it. I am over it, and I'm very much looking forward to spring, and hopefully that is, knock on wood, our last snow of the season, because did I mention I am absolutely over it. I think I'm going to leave it there. I still have plenty of stuff on the table behind me that I want to get to and talk to, and we're just going to keep chugging away at it. Yeah, between the weather and illness, haven't been doing as much knitting and as much filming as I would like, but you know, I'm just going to keep on coming. Assuming that you guys are here to see it. And if you are here to see it, I would love it if you would subscribe, like this video, dislike this video. I think you can thumbs it down if you feel that strongly about it. You can share this video with a friend. You can share it with an enemy. You can email me, candibknittin@gmail.com. You can follow me on Blue Sky, candibknittin on Blue Sky. I'm also still on Instagram @Rulude, or chat with me in the comments below. Are you getting no, I wouldn't say unseasonable. Are you getting uncharacteristic snow? It seems like the people that don't usually get snow are getting snow, and the people that need snow aren't getting it. Let me know. Until next time, peace.